a major driver, and we were able to, in a one-time savings by moving to self-insured, save quite a bit of projected cost. We also have the fuel concerns for the heating and utilities used at our schools. We have to keep that in mind when we're budgeting. Cost of transportation for our budget, or our buses, which is also a major driver. And then, of course, employment costs. Again, we have people. And we do collective bargaining and are pretty aggressive in our stance in trying to provide well for our employees, but balance that with the ability of our town and municipal authority to pay. So that's always, a difficult negotiation. We're actually going to be doing it this summer. But that has a major impact on a school budget because, again, it's about 80%, 75% of our cost are people. So we have to be very mindful of that when we negotiate and, again, take pretty tough stance on that. So for us, costs are always a concern because, quite frankly, if we can't control them, then we're going to lose valuable resources. And we want to educate children as well as we can, so we use everything we have.
Have to focus on that.
Yep.
That's great. We've done pretty well in the recent past in building our grand lists. Do you expect that to continue? You touched on that before, but also explain what a grand list is.
The grand list is the total value of real estate, buildings, and motor vehicles, as well as personal equipment. So if you own a business and you have computers and equipment within that, that all has a value that's placed on it. And in the aggregate, that's what we call our grand list. And so that grand list then is basically the taxable value within the community, which ultimately works in the formula to create a mill rate which we then tax folks on using that mill rate. We have done very well over the last 5 to 8 years in terms of growing that grand list. We grow that grand list through economic development with our new businesses. We grow it through our existing businesses reinvesting in Windsor, as well as all of us, if we happen to put an addition on our home, buy a new vehicle, and that all adds, hopefully, to the overall grand list. Certainly, we've been impacted by the national and regional economy over the last 3 years or so, 4 years. It's been sluggish, but we have seen grand list growth in each of the years. Some of our neighboring communities have not been as lucky. They've seen a slight decrease in value. So I think that in the next 3 to 5 years, as long as the national economy continues to ramp up, slow as it may be, as long as it continues to ramp up, we should be in pretty good shape. Because I mentioned earlier, we do have great access to highway. We'll be soon to have enhanced commuter rail via the state, which will be another asset in terms of location. We also have a significant amount of available land for economic development, land that is not negatively impacted by wetlands, things that are relatively flat, which are advantages compared to what some other communities may have. So I think our grand list has an opportunity to grow. We also are looking at redevelopment opportunities. The former Combustion Engineering, or ABB campus off of Day Hill Road, has a significant long-term master plan that's been developed by the private developers that will hopefully in time add value to our grand list, as well as efforts to revitalize or enhance rather sections of Wilson as well as Town Center with some new infill development, which at a much different scale, but will add not only grand list, but also more importantly vitality to those two village centers.
Okay. So people might not realize, but businesses don't just pay on their physical building, they pay for all the equipment that's inside it?
They do. They pay for their computers, their furnishings. There are exemptions, and manufacturers in the state of Connecticut do have a exemption from the state of Connecticut, but not all personal property within businesses are exempt. It's really just manufacturers that have those exemptions. So not only do they pay on their building, they also pay on the furnishings within the building itself.
I'm glad I don't have to pay on my washer and dryer and refrigerator, though. So that's great. In wrapping up, I'd like to give each of you an opportunity to address what you feel that it's most essential for the public to know and understand about our budget that we'll be voting on May 15th.
Well, I guess I'd like to start and begin. Education's a very complex endeavor. I remind adults all the time that schools have changed since we were in schools. We are now servicing children who did not attend public school when we were all in school. We have tremendous expectations placed on us both nationally and state and locally. And we're capable and do an outstanding job, but the funding is quite necessary for us to continue to provide the services that we have. This year, our unique opportunity is to get full-day kindergarten into place in a way that has very nominal impact on taxes and costs for folks, which I think is a great opportunity. Quite frankly, I'm aware of communities that have been told by the commissioner they have to put in place full-day kindergarten, and they weren't able to have these funding opportunities lined up. So we're in a good place. And so I've encouraged parents and folks that see that and believe that this is the time to get out and support the school system, because big things are coming, and I think the future is very bright for us.
You know, it seems like you've both planned, been planning hard.
Yes, what I'd like just to highlight is that the overall expenditures for the budget is just over 1.5%, so 1.6%. That is in my mind, a significant endeavor. We've been able to preserve services. The Board of Education has been able to propose the implementation of all-day kindergarten. The town council has been able to keep our debt service level. That's all the money that we borrow for those capital investments. That is level for the third year in a row.
Wow.
And last year, the budget expenditure increase was 1.1%. So for 2 years in a row, we're going to be basically at less than 1.5%, or at 1.5% or less in terms of expenditure, while preserving the vast majority of programs. So I think that's critical. I think that's a lot of credit to the Board of Education, as well as the Town Council, for understanding and balancing the fiscal realities with the desire to continue to keep us a strong, competitive, and livable community, not only today, but going out into the future.
All right, I think that talks to the collaboration between the schools and the town too, because it doesn't happen everywhere, where both are, sometimes they're head to head, so that's big kudos to you guys. Well, we know we have a record number of 16,517 Windsor registered voters turned out for the last presidential election. It would be wonderful if we had that kind of turnout again this year for our local budget referendum. It just seems that what happens in town just affects our daily life so much more sometimes than the big national election, although it's important to vote every time. All 7 Windsor polling places will be open on May 15th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And to find the location of your polling place or obtain more information on the budget, you can go to the Town of Windsor website, which is www.townofwindsorct.com. There's a budget brief up there that's very simple to understand. There's also a tax calculator, so you can put your information in and find out how it's going to affect you, and lots of other info. So again, that's www.townofwindsorct.com. I want to thank you both so much for being here with us today and helping us understand what's going to be in the budget referendum and in our budget this coming year.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.